الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. Hazrat Umar radhiyallahu anhu,
We were discussing about the period of Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu, the different wars that took place during his era. I was carrying on with that discussion, and we have Jange Jund and Sabur. When Hazrat Abu Sawra bin Rum had conquered certain villages, he went to Jande Sabur and then he camped there. This is one of the cities of Kurdistan area of those days. Of course, the fights continued, but they remained camping in that area. They remained in place until they found some people who are ready to to get protection from Islam, from Muslim army. And they used to get some messages from Mecca to attack. On one occasion, the offer was made that people can be protected, and then they opened up the doors and their animals and people came out. And then they were wondering that what had happened. Why are you doing this? And then they said, we are seeking protection from you. We accept your protection and we are going to be giving jizya. And then the Muslims said, we haven't given you protection. We haven't given you this offer. And then they said, yes, this is what you said. But Mikne Flami, one slave, had said this. And then when it was inquired from Hazrat Umar bin Khattab radiallahu ta'ala anhu, and then he said, God has given preference to sincerity and honesty. You can never be honest and sincere unless you fulfill your promise. Whether you made it or a slave made it from your side, you have to fulfill this. And then the Muslims had to give the protection. And this was the end of the conquest of Kurdistan area. Hazrat Muslim Maud radiallahu ta'ala anhu, mentioning the same incident, narrates and said that during the time of Hazrat Umar, a slave made an offer that you will be given these offers and protections. And then the officers, they rejected this. And then the matter was taken to Hazrat Umar. And Hazrat Umar, in response, said that a Muslim's word must be honored, whether it is from a slave or an officer. And then this is what happened. And of course, Hazrat Muslim Maud gave his own wording. He gave his narrative regarding what happened. And then they were saying that the Muslims are about to conquer our palaces. If we are conquered, we shall be treated like those prisoners of war. Of course, there were general laws for those for those who are conquered, and they were thinking that they should take an option where they could have a soft offer. And then the offer was, is it better for you to have a protection or not, or fighting? And then they said, we better stay under their protection, and our wealth and our lives will be under your lives. This was an unlearned slave, and then he opened the doors for them. And then the opponents were saying, we have already made a treaty with you. We've made an agreement. And then the Muslims were saying that, who made this offer? Who was the officer that made this offer? And then they said, we don't know who is an officer for you or who not. There was a person who was filling water. He's the one who made this offer. And then they said there was a slave who went out, asked them, and then he was an African slave. And then he said, yes, it is me who made this offer to the enemies. And then the Muslim turned and said, he is a slave. Who gave him the right to make such decisions? And the opponents said, we don't know whether he is an officer or not. We took it to be that this is your general. And then the officer said, I can't accept this, but in any case I have to write to Hazrat Umar. And when the letter reached Hazrat Umar said that from now on, apart from the commander-in-chief, no one can make a decision. But if a Muslim has made this offer, I can't go against that word. Now, we shall have to go by the word of the black slave, and now make this announcement that from now on, without the commander-in-chief's agreement, no one can make an agreement or an offer with the opponents. Hazrat Umar bin Khattab radiallahu ta'ala anhu, when he conquered Iran in his time, we want to find out what were the reasons behind. What happened? Hazrat Umar had the wish to end the wars in Iran because he didn't see any benefit in fighting. The opponent was attacking all the time, and once the power receded from the enemy, from the opponent, Hazrat Umar was wishing this, that we find an understanding between the Iranians and us, so that we are not able to fight them or for them to attack us. But because of the fightings and attacks that happened from the Iranians, never allowed the wish of Hazrat Umar to take place. And on one occasion, a convoy came to Hazrat Umar. A group came to Hazrat Umar, and Hazrat Umar inquired from them that why do we receive these attacks from you, the Iranians, all the time? And then he thought that maybe because of the Muslims forcing them to attack. But it wasn't the case, that it was because of the treatment of the Muslims there. And then they said, yes, of course, the Muslims, they treat us nicely. Then he inquired from them that why is it that you keep on attacking? There wasn't any response, but Ahnaf bin Qais said that, O Amir al-Mu'mineen, I tell you the fact. The truth is that you stopped us from attacking them, and you taught us not to fight anymore in those areas where we have conquered. And the Iranian emperor is still alive. As long as he's alive, they will continue to fight us. And there is no possibility that we can have two rulers at the same time. So it is either we stay or they stay. And Hazrat Umar said that we did not conquer any area, but because they fought us, we had to go and then fight back. And then, the enemy, when he attacked, then the Muslims had to respond to these attacks, and they covered a lot of ground and a lot of area. In any case, this clarifies everything from among the Muslims and non-Muslims who think that they take pretext and fight without any reason, and becomes a reason of critique to the Islamic teaching that the Muslims at any cost they had to fight so that they conquer lands and to impose their rule, and that's the reason behind their fights. This clarifies everything, that it wasn't the case for the Muslims to fight in the previous days. Furthermore, Qais said that the attackers are coming by the orders of the emperor, and this will continue. And unless until you allow us to fight and respond, then this will continue. And this was the fact, and Hazrat Umar understood that there is no option but to advance, otherwise there won't be peace, and the fighting and the bloodshed will continue. But the practical advance did not take place until the 21st year of Hijrah. After 2 years, he did not advance until when a war ensued, which was called the Battle of Nihamat. This was a fight. This was a battle between Iran and Iraq. It was around those areas. It is also known as Jungle Futuh, or the Battle of Futuh, where they had 3 fronts from Qadsiya, Janhura, and Nahavand. They had 3 fronts, and from Nahavand, this front, it was so popular that the Muslims were known as Fatah al-Futuh. It was a quick advance and a quick capture of the land. And from this Nahavand, this battle, it was after several attacks. And the details of this battle are as follows: that Yazdirad, the Shah of Iran at that time, who was living in Marham, and according to the right of Banu Hanifa, he was living in Kum, Narwari. This emperor started to gather the army, and from Hassan up to Sindh, there was a movement, and everywhere the Iranians started to gather for Nahavand is one of the Iranian who was which was in Hamdan area, which is about 70 kilometers south of Hamdan. And Nahavand was a city which was surrounded by mountains. And Hazrat Saad sent the picture to Hazrat Umar. And when Hazrat Saad had the opportunity to travel to Medina, then he gave the more details, further details, to Hazrat Umar in person. And when Hazrat Saad was changed, then Hazrat Ammar bin Yasir was made the commander. And whatever commands whatever he used to receive the commands from Medina, and he would respond. And on one occasion, he stood on the member and said, "O people of the Arab, God has supported you through Islam, and He has united you after differences, and after you were very weak and make you strong and wealthy, and He has given you victory when you fought with your enemy, and you have never been conquered or overcome at any time. Now the shaitan has gathered an army in order to blow the light of Allah." And this Yasan's letter and message, that Khurastan, Navan, Osban, Qum, Hamdan, Mahain, Sabadan, all the people in these areas, they are gathering at the orders of their emperor, at their Shah, so that they can attack Kufa and Basra, and so that they drive you out of your areas. Now I'm seeking your advice. This is an important issue, and I don't want you to debate for so long and have differences. What I want is a brief suggestions from you. That is it okay that I advance to Iran and I find a place between Kufa and Muqam, so that I find also support from you as well. And if we conquer these areas, we can be able to move forward. And that Umar was the one who was giving all these. And then Talha stood up and said, "Oh, Amir Mu'mineen, the affairs of the state have made you more sharp. Whatever you want to do, You are free to do whatever you want to do. Whatever suggestion, whatever opinion you have, we go ahead with it. We are behind you. We shall support you and follow you. Just call us, and then we shall respond. We are ready to respond to your call. If you order us to go, we shall go. If you want to go with us, we shall go with you. It is up to you to decide. Take the decision, because you are not only experienced, but you are also aware of everything. And Hazrat Allah sat down. And then Hazrat Umar said, I am seeking opinion. Say something, because the impacts and the effects of this will be long, will go far. And then another companion said that, O Amir Mu'mineen, send an army towards Kufa and also Ahkam, and we should have different fronts. And also take an army from here, from Hijaz to Kufa. And the fear of the opponents being larger in the army or more than us, that will be dealt with in this way. That you should, and then he was advising that you should also be on the front line. This was Hazrat Usman's opinion. And then Hazrat Umar inquired. Hazrat Umar did not go with Hazrat Uthman's opinion. And then Hazrat Ali stood up and gave a long speech. And then he said, O Amir Mu'minin, if you order the Muslims to move away, then the Iranians will take over the area. And if you move away from here, then people will move with you. And then we shall leave Medina empty. And then there will be a void here, and then the attacks can come from other areas. And then Hazrat Ali gave an opinion that give an order that we should have 3 fronts. One group should protect, another one should go to the areas where we have had, which we have conquered already and have agreements with them. They should be sent to those areas, and others should be sent to Kufa to help those people in Kufa. And Hazrat Ali gave an opinion that write to the people, the army in Kufa, that one group should remain in Kufa and another group should go to attack to fight the opponents. One group should go to Iran and another group should remain in Kufa. And also there should be the same orders for other areas where we have conquered already. It is not prudent for you to move. It is like beads which are tied together. If one bead drops, then all the beads will fall off. People will come to attack us once you move. They will think that maybe you have moved out of Medina. And God dislikes certain things. The movements of the attackers who are attacking us, God is not looking at this and of course those who are fighting us, God is not with them. But our fighting is because of God's orders, and our conquest is not dependent upon the strength or the number of the army we have. It is Allah who supported His army. He has been supporting the Muslim army with His angels at all times. And this is the Muslim army which has been attained by Allah, and Allah has promised us, and Allah will fulfill His promise with the Muslims, and we shall conquer the opponents. And Hazrat Umar said, this is true. Yes, if I move from Medina, then this will cause chaos, and then the Iranians will seek support, and then they will say that the commander-in-chief, Hazrat Umar, has moved. if we kill him or if we attack him and kill him, we would have won the war. And the opponent will think this to be true, and it won't be prudent for me to go. Therefore, I want to appoint someone who's got experience with the Iranians and Iranians to be the commander. And then the opinions came that you have more knowledge. People have been coming to you. You've been speaking to several groups who came from there. And then Hazrat Nu'man bin Muqarran, Hazrat Umar appointed him to be the commander-in-chief, who was one of the companions of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Hazrat Nu'man was praying in the mosque, and when Hazrat Umar came, he saw him, and when he saw him, he sat next to him. And once he finished with the prayers, Hazrat Umar told him that I want to appoint you on a very important position. And Hazrat Umar said, if it is an army position, I will take it up. But if it is to do with taxes, I don't like this. And then Hazrat Umar said, yes, it is to do with the army. But what is close to reality, it is the narrative, is the which has been narrated by Tabri. Hazrat Nu'man bin Muqarrin being appointed to be the commander, which is written in Tabri, like I already said. Ibn Ishaq writes that Nihavand, this place which was conquered, before it is said that Nu'man bin Muqarran was the one who was appointed to be the commander. And he wrote to Hazrat Umar that Sa'ad bin Waqas has made me a tax collector, whereas I prefer fighting. And then Hazrat Umar wrote back to Sa'ad bin Waqas that Nu'man has written to me that you have put him to be a tax collector, whereas he doesn't like this and he prefers fighting. So therefore, taking to Nihavand at an important battlefront. And then Hazrat Nu'man bin Muqarran was appointed, and then he went as a commander to face the opponent. And this was when he was in Kufa. And then this supports the fact that the letter was written from Kufa. He wasn't in Medina when he wrote this letter. And then the letter was, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Nu'man, Salamun Alaik, may peace be upon you. I praise Allah, beside whom there is no Lord, there is no Allah. Amma ba'd. That there is an army which is about to attack you. But when you get this letter from me, then with the support of Allah, with your army, you should advance with your army. But you should not advance in a place which is difficult. But make sure you also look after the rights of the army, those who are under you. Don't make sure you protect their lives, because each life of them is more better than me, more than 1,000 dinar. And then Huzaifa bin Yaman, Ibn Umar, Jarir bin Abdullah, Al-Bajli, Mughira bin Shu'bah, Amr bin Ma'adi, Al-Qarbi, Tulab bin Khuwailad, Aslad, Qais bin Bakhshu, Arabi, and then these were the commanders who were appointed. If one is called Huzaifa, will be after then Jarir bin Abdullah, after that Mughira bin Shu'bah, and if he's killed, then Asas bin Kash should take the command, then Ahmad bin Qabal or Thuwail bin Khuwailid. And this is what was written to Nu'man by Hazrat Umar. And Thuwaila bin Khuwailid, they are all with you. And these are very, very influential people. But don't make them officers for lower positions. In any case, the Muslim army advanced, And Hazrat Nu'man had gathered information, had gathered enough intelligence that it was clear for them to advance. It was, of course, evident that the opponent was getting bigger, from 7,000 to 100,000 opponent army. But from the narration from Bukhari, the number is 40,000. All these, according to Bukhari, the number of the opponent was only 40,000. There was also some hyperbole in the number of the opponents. Of course, the opponent had they advanced and met the leader. And when they went to the palace, and then he said, I don't want to fight you. I don't want my people to be fighting you. If you go back, we shall leave you. Otherwise, you shall see bodies before you. And then Hazrat Mughira, who had come to the fort, he said, that time is gone, which was before the advent of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. After the coming of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the situation has changed. And then, at the advancement of the Muslim army, Nu'ayn was in command, Suwaid, Yaman. There were also commanders. Qaqa bin Amr, who was on the front line with the horses and was commanding this battalion, and another battalion also was being led by another commander. This was a very difficult battle because the enemy was well entrenched. They had trenches and fortresses, and whenever they could see the army, they would come and attack the Muslims and then hide back in their trenches and fortresses. One narrator said that I saw them passing, and it was too hard. It was as if passing or crossing a high mountain. And then Hazrat Mughira called some people who were experienced, and then he said, you people, you can see how people are well protected in their trenches and their fortresses. They attack as they will, and we can't fight until we wait for them to come and attack. They also have support from behind. And you can see how hard it is for us to fight. Now, how can we fight with them? And when they had this, the oldest person in the group, Omar bin Subay, said, now they are seized in their fortresses. And I think this is more difficult for them. So let it carry on like this. So the seizure carry on. Those who come to fight, let's fight those who come out. Otherwise, we have surrounded them. But others did not accept this. And then Amr bin Mahdi said, there is nothing to worry about. No reason to fear. Let's advance and let's advance and fight the enemy. This also was rejected. And then the experienced army said, we don't have to advance. Let's wait behind the walls. The perimeter walls is protecting us from the enemy. And then Tulayh also stood up and said that I don't accept any of the opinions. My opinion is that we should send a small battalion and then should instigate them to fight. Let them attack with arrows. And with this, the opponent will come to respond to the attack. And then our troops should move back as if they're retreating. And then the opponent will think that they are retreating, and then they will try to attack. They will attack. When they come, we shall attack them. Then Hazrat Nu'man accepted this, and then he ordered Hazrat Qanqa to implement this. And that's what exactly happened. Qaqa started to retreat, and then the opponent, thinking that they were retreating, they all moved out of their fortresses and their trenches, and only those who were guarding the gates remained there. And then they moved out to attack them. And then they came so close to the Muslims, and then even some Muslims were attacked, but Hazrat Nu'man had not commanded to start to fight. Hazrat Nu'man loved the Holy Prophet ﷺ, and the Holy Prophet's practice was that until it was quiet or not too hot, he never fought when it was too hot. He waited until it was a bit cooler. And because some people, they were already attacked, and they went to Nu'man and wanted to fight, and then he was saying that wait, and the commander, Nu'man, who was the commander, was telling them wait. And as that Mughira said, if I was you, I would have given the order. And then Hazrat Nu'man said, wait for a while. Of course, had you been a commander, you would have been better than me. And when? But even today, God won't disgraces. What you want to achieve quickly, we can achieve the same. We can achieve the same end with a little weight. And when the evening fell, then Hazrat Nu'man went around the army, the troops, and then he gave a speech, and then he gave a request for prayers for his martyrdom. And then he said, I will say takbir 3 times, and I will wave the flag 3 times. For the first time, everybody stay ready. Second time, pull your armory, your weapons, and then get ready to attack. And on the third occasion, when I say takbir and wave the flag, once I flag you and I advance, then every one of you should attack at once. And then after that he said, oh Allah, give honor to your religion and make Nu'man to be the first martyr in this battle. And as soon as he finished the speech, then no one from among the Muslim army was either ready to die or to conquer and go back as heroes. And Hazrat Nu'man took the flag, and the flag was waving in such a way as if it was a hawk moving fast. And then the Muslims attacked the opponent, and because of the metal shield they had, there was a lot of noise. And then Hazrat Nu'man attacked, and then he fell off from his horse. And his brother Naim bin Muqarrin, the brother of Nu'man, he took the flag, and then he covered his brother, his body, who was killed, and then came to Huzaifa bin Nu'man. And then Huzaifa, Naim bin Muqarrin, they both came to the place where Nu'man was killed, and they raised the flag there. And they kept the death of Nu'man secret. And when Hazrat Nu'man was injured, his brother took him to the tent, and then he wore his clothes, and then he rode on the horse of Nu'man, and the people thought they were thinking that it was Nu'man. And Tabri has written that at a very delicate position, at a time when it was very delicate, he wrote a good example of the good example of leadership at a delicate time. And he said that Hazrat Nu'man had announced that if Nu'man is killed, no one should just turn to Nu'man, rather you should advance. And Nokel said that when Nu'man fell, I looked at him and I remembered his orders that we have to continue fighting. But in any case, the battle continued, and then in the evening, by the evening, the Iranians ran back, and many leaders of the Iranians were killed. And then when I returned, Hazrat Nu'man had some life left. And then he asked, what's your name? And then I told him, and he also asked what was the condition of the Muslims. And then he said, we have won. And then he said, write to Umar bin Khattab. The night when the Muslim won, Hazrat Umar was so restless. And the Rawi, the narrator, said that Hazrat Umar was in so much pain as the woman faces the pain of the labor pains. And when Hazrat Umar received the news of the conquest, and then Hazrat Umar said, Alhamdulillah, but when he inquired about Nu'man, he was told that he was killed. Nu'man was killed, and also he mentioned other people who were killed. And then he said, many people have been killed whom you don't even know their names. And tears rolled down the eyes of Hazrat Umar, and then he said, whether I know them or not, God knows them. God, seeing their martyrdom, has raised their status. So whether Umar knows them or not, so what? But in any case, Khosrow and Shunum, who were the leaders, they were thinking that certain areas will not attack certain areas. And Nihavand, when it was conquered, its conquest was very important, and the Iranians did not get a chance to organize a response. And this is known as Fathul Futuh, the biggest conquest. There was also, it is written that according to the rules in that time, they had to change the way of rule. The oppressive regime had to be changed. And Hazrat Umar did not like any bloodshed. Hazrat Umar never wanted to see bloodshed, or being a true servant of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, did not wanted just to end the wars and did not want to continue fighting with the Iranians. And he showed this wish several times. Rather, he even stopped the advancement of the Muslim advancement towards the Iranians. But because there were several attacks from certain pockets around, then Hazrat Umar had sought counsel from other companions, and this was in the 17th year of Hijr, that we have to advance. We have no choice but to advance. But like I've already been discussing this, Hazrat Umar waited and waited. And when he saw that people were instigating and the enemy was attacking at all time, then he realized that people will not stop doing this. Then he organized a strong army, and then Hazrat Umar, after the 21st year of Hijr, Hazrat Umar ordered an attack. And then he made a plan of how to fight the Iranians. Hazrat Umar appointed different commanders and he gave them flags, Hazrat Umar made flags for them. Khurasan was given to Anas bin Qais. Istakhlaf was given to Uthman bin Abu As. Ardashir and Thabur, it was given to Mujash bin Anosa Naudara. It was given to Bijid bin Kasaria bin Ais. Amr bin Qas was given for Surjaria. Hakam bin Amr was also given, and also Qalman was given to Suhail. These areas had different commanders respectively. Buqail was given also a flag and was given commands that in the areas of Azerbaijan you should attack from the right hand side, and another attack should have to be from the left hand side as well. You should have two fronts. Isfahan was given to Abdullah, and the conquest of Isfahan was given to Abdullah. He was in heaven when he received the letter from Hazrat Umar that you must advance, and Abdullah bin Warqa was with him. Abdullah advanced and he fought with a battalion from the opponents, which was in the command of Istandargar from the opponents. Shahar bin Baraz was a very experienced Jazviya, was a very experienced army who took this battalion to attack the Muslim. There was a tough battle, and as Abdullah bin Warqa, after a long fight, the enemy, the opponent, had to run, and then the Muslims had an understanding between them. They made an agreement between them, and they surrounded the city. And Abu Sufyan in the morning came to Abdullah, the commander of the Muslims, and he said, "It is better for us not to fight." And then he said, "We better fight between two." And then Abu Sufyan said, "Okay, it's fine." And then Abdullah remained with them on the horse. And then before attacking, he said, Asfan said, "Wait." This was a duo between the two. And then he said, "I am ready to give you to make an agreement between you. No need to fight." And then this was in the 21st year of Hijr. The number of the Muslims that took part in this battle, other people say that Abdullah bin Udair bin Warqa was the commander, but Tabri, the historian, writes, I say Abdullah bin Warqa al-Azadi is the one who took part in this battle. But there was a confusion of names. But Abdullah bin Udail was even young. He was even killed in the Safain, who was 24 years when he was killed. There was a battle of Hamazan, and after Navadan, they advanced. And the people of Hamadan had broken the treaty. And after getting some support, they wanted to attack. And Hazrat Umar had ordered Nu'man to attack with the 1200 army. When the conquest, the news reached Medina to Hazrat Umar, then Hazrat Umar said, "Go and advance and stay in Ni'am, because this is a central position for the enemies. In any case, we shall be discussing further battles that happened in the time of Hazrat Umar. We shall continue with the same discussion in the future sermon, inshallah. But at this point, I want to mention about a few of our members who have passed away, and I'll be leading their funeral prayers in absentia. Tunu Sahib of Indonesia is the first one who passed away in the 15th of July at the age of 44 years. It is said he was very quiet in childhood. He used to sit in the mosque, learn Islamic teachings, and also remembering God at all times. And he always wanted to seek nearness to Allah. He had a friend in the village who was an Ahmadiyya Muslim. And as we were studying in the high school, he learned about Jamaat Ahmadiyya through his friend. And then the deceased in Chiludu, in Chisbun, that's where they used to live. And then he accepted Ahmadiyyat, and his father dispossessed him, and then he said, my son is gone astray. He did not even open the doors to his house furthermore, and he stopped him from coming to his house. And in 1997 he was given an idea to join Jamia, and then he had a passion for preaching. And then he took admission in Jamia, and in 2000 he finished the education. And in 2000, the first appointment was in Tontwa, and he used to go there for preaching in several areas. And he managed to preach to several people, and he delivered the message of true Islam, Ahmadiyyat, to many souls in Indonesia. When the mission house construction started, at that time there wasn't any mission house then. And then the writer says that I remember he used to live in a very cheap rental house. And what he had as property in his house, he only had a blanket, a pillow, and a mat where he used to sleep. And also, he only had one pot which he used to cook for cooking, and then also collecting water. So Tia Aziz Sab and the regional missionary, he once came to the house, and he wondered when he saw the condition where he was living. And after that, General Pontwa wrote to the center, and then requested that they should construct a mission house and a house for the missionary, for the sheikh. And afterwards, a house was built. Before, they used to pray with other Muslims, but then after some time they had to offer their prayers in a house. And there was also a lot of opposition. They were being stopped from constructing a mosque there. And the leader of the village there would say, I won't let it happen. I won't let you construct a mosque here. And with a strong resolve, they managed to construct a mosque and also a mission house. If they didn't get workers, they would work themselves, and also the young people would take part in Wakare Amar, free labor. When he was appointed in Jakarta, there was a lot of opposition. But when the tsunami hit and people came to take shelter in our mosque, he looked after many people there. And for 2 years, when the floods continued, whenever floods happened, they used to come and seek shelter in our mosque. And he used to look after the people there. He used to deliver the message of the Khalif of the time through radio and through television. And also, there wasn't any live YouTube or live streaming translation. So he used to do this work before, and he was a very, very active missionary. He's been survived by a wife and children. May Allah forgive him, and may Allah help the children to carry on with the good works he was doing. There was also Sabzara Latif Sahib from America, from Chicago. He passed away. Inna lillahi wa inna ilaihi raji'un. A while ago, he passed away. He was a great-grandson of Sahibzada Abdul Latif Sahib. He was always the first one to offer salam to everyone. He was always ready to do any service within the mosque. He was also working as an auditor for the community in Chicago. He was a Mosi. He's left 3 children and an old mother. At the time of his death, he was 45 years old. May Allah forgive him and elevate his status in paradise. May Allah also make his family and his children remain connected to this system, to the Jamaat. There's another one from Lahore who passed away on 21st of November. His son has written requesting for a funeral prayer in absentia. He was the son of Ghulam Farid Sahib, the one who translated the Holy Quran in English. He served in different places in Hyderabad. He also had an opportunity to finish the second edition, and after the death of his father, with his young brother, they compiled and finished the second edition. May Allah forgive him. May Allah forgive all the deceased. Like I said, I'll be offering their funeral prayers in absentia after the Friday's prayers, inshallah.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruhu wa nu'minu bihi wa natawakkalu alayhi wa na'udhu billahi min shururi anfusina wa min sayyiati a'malina. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله عباد الله رحمكم الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون اذكروا الله يذكركم وادعوه يستجب لكم ولذكر الله أكبر.